Hello, beautiful being. Thank you so much for being here, for spending time with me in this way, and most importantly, spending time with yourself in this way. It's so important to recollect yourself, recenter yourself through the little divine messages and really just being in your own energy. And I really want to help ease us into this reading and ease us into this space together through 4 sound bowl hits here. And while I do so, I want you to just breathe, really breathe deeply into your body so you can ground into yourself and in the space that you are in. So inhale. And I invite you to just stay here for just a little longer in the stillness. Just continue breathing. There's no need to rush out of this space. And then on your next inhale and out exhale, just bring a curve upwards to your mouth. I hope that settles you into your own body and into the space that you've chosen to hold you in this moment. The breath is something so beautiful, and it's something so healing. I think that the breath is often overlooked in the healing journey, as in, let's just take this moment to breathe together, you know? Like, I think that it's so important for us to come back into this awareness and alignment of our breath and how our breath truly moves our life force through us, through this body of ours. And as we are connecting right now, our breaths and our life force are interlinking. That's how you and I have been able to find each other in this world, on this internet. We came together in this moment, and it was because our life force, our divine life force, have emerged together and interlinked. And I really want you to feel how powerful that is. Feel the immense power that you have in your body for you to show up, to even wonder about this question, to even click this and to be watching this in this time. It's power. Like, that is something that no one can take away. And I think that is something so powerful, and I want us to really ground in that. And I want as our breath to be an anchor in this session that we are in together. I say session because I really want you to treat this time as you would if you were to book a session with me, because I'm going to be showing up the same way as I would if this is a session or just a conversation. And so if I am closing my eyes while I'm talking like this, it really is just me clearing my energy, settling into my body, and also channeling for you and speaking to your spirit. Sometimes it can be a little bit hard for me to keep looking at you because I want to just have that clear channel and that focus for us in this space. And then now just take this last inhale and exhale to have us open this space for your question. So I'm going to read it off of my phone here, and then I'm gonna have, okay, hold on. Ooh. Okay, so before I'm even diving into the question, before I'm even sharing out loud the question and the context of your question, I'm feeling like third eye chakra energy, very much kind of like pulsing. So it almost feels like overactive in the way that it's like this is what it feels like, just kind of like very pulsing. It could be a slight headache. I feel like there's a lot of like overwhelm and overthinking happening. But I wanted to share that. Just I feel like I'm picking up that energy with the question that you have, but I really want to now share what the question is. So you said, last year I made a lot of big shifts in my life externally. It was really the year of stepping past the bounds of my comfort zone, which was ultimately so rewarding. And I'm wondering now what uncomfortable things I might be called to face this year. Or perhaps is this year more of an internal focus rather than an external one? Thank you, Moon. Okay, so I want to reflect back to you the energies that I'm feeling very prominent for you. And I also want to tell you what I'm hearing from your question. So your question is clear. You're asking what this year is all about for you, right? What is going to be your focus? Is it something of yourself, or is it something outside of yourself? Because last year was a big focus on outside of yourself, which was ultimately rewarding because it was a growth season for you, right? Because you mentioned that you stepped out of your comfort zone a lot and ultimately provided you that reward at the end of feeling like, okay, it was worth it, or feeling that it was fulfilling, even though I'm sure at the time it was uncomfortable or it was scary. And so you're wondering now what kinds of things that you're going to be facing this year that will be uncomfortable. Is it going to be more stepping out of your comfort zone in the outside of your life or the inside of your life? And so this is what I'm hearing really of this. I'm picturing like a balance figure, like the scales of, your inner world and your outer world, because I'm picturing this because it seems like they're almost they're not necessarily like opposites to you, but it can feel like opposites because what you're asking for, the energy that I'm picking up on, is like this or the other almost. And what I'm already like feeling from your spirit guides, the universe, and your higher self is like there's not necessarily let's focus on the external this year only, or the let's focus on the internal this year only. It's more of like this is more of understanding that when you invest into your inner world, your outer world will inevitably reap the fruits of that. And the same thing as with you investing in your outer world. When you do that, you are going to be showing up differently. Just as you said of last year, you made a lot of shifts externally, and a lot of those shifts required you to step out of your comfort zone. And ultimately, that was rewarding because it brought you to new places, right? So it was rewarding in your inner world. Maybe the external changes that happened last year for you, it could be that it was not rewarding for your external world, but somehow you felt that internal fulfillment, right? So there is this message here already coming through, that initially coming through of helping you understand from like a higher, wider perspective, or even deeper, wherever angle that you kind of want to go, is that whatever you're focusing on, it's going to impact both worlds, your external and your internal. Your guides want you to know this year is not necessarily choosing one or the other, right? Choosing the internal or external focus. They're more of saying that it's not, you're actually, based on what you're going to be choosing for yourself, both are going to be benefiting, right? So that's where earlier I was kind of sharing and channeling this like energy of it's not internal or external, it's actually just both of them getting the benefit, right? When you invest in one or the other, you're technically investing in both. So for you to be able to decide, well, which priority or which focus you want to go on, obviously, like that's the one, that's like the guidance that you are asking for. So I'm going to be using my lovely deck, the Soulstice deck, and these are going to be, let's just see what your guides have to say. Okay, one just popped out. Okay, that one also. Okay, and then I'm gonna, so two cards just popped out. I'm gonna use those as like what your focus is on for the year. And then I'm gonna draw a third card, and I'm not gonna open that yet. I'm gonna wait till the end, and I want you to ask a question, right? Like you can ask it right now or after the two cards. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be the last card. They just popped out. Okay, great. But yeah, you can ask the question right now, your secondary question, or after the two cards have been revealed. So, okay. I am I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it is. Okay, I keep like looking down because I'm looking at your question. I keep referencing it because I want the more I look at it, the more I can like tune in and really like have it like in my energy field. Okay. Okay, so your focus for this year is going to be this card, and then I'm going to draw this card, the second one, on I'm going to ask like the what uncomfortable things you're going to be facing this year. It can be, and on this question, it can be like things that you may do or things that you will experience or the uncomfortable things that are here to teach you. Not necessarily like, oh, what's going to happen per se. It can be, but I feel like the energy is more deep than that. It's more of like when you do feel uncomfortable this year, what is it actually teaching you, right? Like we're going to go into the source, not just like what you see above the surface of like what I'm getting is like plants, right? Or you see a garden. It's not necessarily because like it's kind of like you're asking as a gardener, what kind of plants are you going to be planting this year? And I could say that you're going to be planting tomatoes, you know, and tomatoes may be something that's uncomfortable for you. And I can say that you're going to be planting lavender, and that's something that is uncomfortable for you. But it's more of like the energy isn't necessarily talking about the plant itself. It's really asking, well, what are these tomatoes really here for, you know, in my garden? What am I learning? What is it here to serve in my garden as an ecosystem? What is it teaching me as a gardener, right? And so I hope that this is helpful. Okay, so we are going to ask the first one, which was, is this year more of an internal focus rather than an external focus? So you got the card, I am the collective. And okay, and I'm smiling right now because it's wrapping up what we just talked about and more. So, okay, but before I read it, let's just take this moment to anchor ourselves, right? Get that breath in and out of the body so our life force keeps cycling through us. And feel free to close your eyes at this time so you can really just hear your spirit speaking to you. I am the collective. Dear one, you are not just a singular person, an individual human, or a separate being from everything else. You are a world full of wonder, full of magic, and full of complexities that can never be contained. You feel and you think so deeply and so fully because you are vast. The power you have is incredible. The power you have is incredible. Let that affirmation flow through your body now. The power you have is incredible. It can never be taken away from you, only forgotten. So wake up to the incredible power you have and use it for good. To first create goodness in your inner world and then spread goodness to your outer world. For together, we are all beings who are just being, webbing out to impact and connect. Your affirmation is, I am connected to my community just as much as my community is connected to me. I am connected to my community just as much as my community is connected to me. Okay. I need some tea, so drink some water, please. So this card is it's so funny because it's just like I was just saying and just channeling earlier what your guides are saying is your internal world and your external world, whether you focus on one at a time, whether you focus on one this year, you're actually focusing on both, right? When you pour into one, the other receives. So I think like it's almost like there's almost like this pull of, there's also like this energy of like there's no wrong decision here, you know, like sometimes it can feel that maybe one thing is more important than the other. And while that may be true in a reality that we exist in the sense of like urgency, but I think that, you know, there's some perspective shifts that your guides are really wanting you to know about healing in general. Is like when you focus on one thing, it's truly not taking away from anything. It's actually giving to all parts of you. And so I really feel like that I need to speak to a part of you who feels like you might make the wrong decision, or you're afraid to make a decision because you don't want to make the wrong decision. And I really hope that this is comforting for you to know that you will never make a wrong decision. Like, it's not possible, because when you are truly prioritizing your healing, your spirit, it doesn't matter what focus, you know, quote unquote focus it is on, because you're nurturing yourself as a whole, right? You're nurturing yourself as an entire ecosystem. So I hope that that helps you like purge that narrative out of, am I going to make the wrong decision? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this okay? And technically, like those questions don't even exist in your spirit form. But in our human form, of course, right, we'll always feel that. So I hope that that can feel comforting for you. And when you do feel like that sense of like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? Is this the right way? Blah, blah, blah. You know, all these questions that we always have. Just do that for that moment right there, what I just did. Just taking that breath. Because it really helps. Like, this is the visual that I have. I don't know how to explain it as clearly as possible, but there's just like this string or this pathway, right, that gets tangled up here. That's why my third eye chakra was like very like overactive and kind of tight and pulsing. So the visual is like there's this pathway, this rope that is super tangled up. Or maybe like a hose, you know, like when you spray stuff, right? Like that hose of water. it's like tangled up, but you need water to come out of that. But it can't because it's all tangled up. And so in order to detangle that, it's through that breath, that deep breath. And as you do that deep breath, it will expand in like, it's doing this to the rope. Like it really is creating that air and that space to breathe and untighten, because I feel like your energy is very like in the headspace, and at least right now, as you're asking this question, it's very much like, it's not necessarily you're running on fumes, but you can kind of trip over yourself, you know, because it's so tangled, and there's nothing like down here to really ground you or to hold you, because you're just so focused on like this part of um your life is like the questioning, like what is it, what do I focus on, and kind of almost like the planning part of life, which is a beautiful part. But sometimes as humans, you know, we can overthink. And so just that, taking that breath really helps calm the energy, opens up your heart space, creates a steady heartbeat and rhythm. And even when you feel very tangled and overwhelmed and overthinking, a practice that you can start doing is putting a hand to your heart and just breathe. It could just be for one breath. It could just be for 1 second, or however long that you need. And then you'll know that you feel complete when you feel like it's detangled enough for you to have that water flow through you, right? The water is your breath, right? It's the analogy of your breath, but it's also the analogy of your life source, right? Your divine connection, your connection to the divine, to your higher self, to your own soul. This is where you can go and flow, right? Just the water is that constant flow. And so whenever we block it accidentally, through overthinking, through our habits, we can always come back into making it, sometimes it won't ever be straight, right? Like I don't want you to have like this expectation all the time to just have it completely open, because we're human. It's not going to be possible to always keep it straight. So I feel like for you, the goal, the micro goal, is just enough, right? It's just straight enough, just spacious enough for water to flow through. It could just be a little drip, right? So I hope that that can be helpful for you. And then the second thing that I feel like I already talked about, but I wanted to go back to, is really, again, like, you know, investing in yourself is investing in your outside world. And investing in your outside world is also investing in your inner world. These things are always impacted and interlinked. So, and this card is literally saying that, right? Like, you are the collective and the collective is you. This part really draws out to me the most. It says, use your incredible power for good, to first create goodness in your inner world and then spread goodness to your outer world. So that really speaks to me, because I think this will really help you understand what your focus is on this year. Because the first part says, create goodness. And then the second part says, spread goodness, right? So in order to kind of figure out what to focus on this year, whether your inner world or your outer world. It's not even about like, is it going to be your inner world or outer world? It's more about like what, like the action that you're doing, right? Just as this card says, do you want to create goodness, or do you want to spread goodness? It's more of those questions rather than inner world or outer world. No, it's technically those will always be. It's like they are the beneficiaries of your action, right? Of your higher action, of your actual day-to-day life. Are you going to be creating goodness, or are you going to be spreading goodness, right? Sharing goodness, whatever goodness feels like, looks like for you. I think that that's something that can also be explored in this reading. That could be a third question for the third card. But I do think like you already have an inkling of what you want to do, you know? Like, do you want to create, or do you want to share? Do you want to do something, make something, or do you want to like serve something? Do you want to connect something? So I think like those words can kind of help you figure out, okay, like that is gonna help me go into that space. So I hope this is making sense. And then that last sentence says, for together, right, creating goodness and spreading goodness, we are all beings who are just being. We are webbing out to impact and connect. So it really is, of course, your own choice at the end of the day. This is something that is meaningful to you. This is something that is going to be amazing for you. You create the year. And then with the last thing with this card, again, is just really, really affirming you that what you do with yourself is going to impact your community. And what you do with your community is going to always impact you. And all of it is interconnected. As you already know and have experience with your previous year of focusing on your external, really stepping out of your comfort zone and feeling that shift within, right? Like you feel fulfilled within because you focused on the external. So just that understanding and that connection in your brain, I think could help you just shift that mindset of like, okay, yeah, I'm not doing anything necessarily wrong, or I'm not picking anything wrong. It's just like, this is what I want to be doing right now, whether it's creating or sharing. So I hope that that is helpful. That's just the first card. Okay, I'm gonna drink some tea, and for you, I would love for you to drink some water as well. Hydrate. This is so important, especially as you receive readings. It's important for you to keep your own energy clean. Okay, so now we are going on to the second question, which is, I am wondering what uncomfortable things I might be called to face this year. Okay. Okay, so you got connect with love. Love this card. Oh my God, I love this card. Okay. Okay, so this is what it says. And, okay, hold on. Before I get too excited, let's just ground again in our breath. And feel free to close your eyes and just really hear this from your own soul. Connect with love. Love is not a relationship with just one person. It is not a relationship with just yourself. Love is a way of life and a way of being. Love is how you see yourself and everything else. Love is a relationship with all things and with living beings. Life is calling you to deepen your compassion, to deepen your understanding, and to deepen your perspective. There is always, always, always room for more love. How can you demonstrate love for all things and living beings? What does love sound like, feel like, look like, taste like, and smell like? How is love manifesting in your life? Your affirmation is, love is how my inner world interacts with my outer world. Love is how my inner world interacts with my outer world. Okay. This is so amazing. Okay, before I get into this though, I do want to I do want to do like kind of like a I do want to do like a 5-minute activity with you, okay? So I have to put on my timer. So the activity that I want to do, instead of 5, let's just do 3, so we can just kind of give ourselves that shorter container to not overthink. I want you to get out of like a journal, right? A piece of paper, not just a piece of paper, put it in your journal. This is something special, right? We don't just want to draw something or write something and just throw it away. I want you to get a journal, get a pen, paper, or pen, pencil, whatever you write with, a marker. I really want this space to just be a time to express yourself, right? Without your mind. I love doing writing. I love doing any kind of art in that way because it gets us out of our mind and actually helps us, like I was saying earlier with the tangled rope or hose, it's like art naturally detangles that so effortlessly. And so outside of just the breath, you could do this practice as well. And so now that you have your journal and your pen, I'm gonna do like a minute each, okay? So the first minute, I just want you to write down, or you can draw anything as well. Anything that comes up for you with this card. I'm going to read it to you while you express yourself on the page, just so you can continue to have this energy like wash over you and for you to just like truly like channel what is coming through you from this message. So I'm going to be doing that for the first 2 minutes, and then the last minute we'll do something else with the message. So I'm going to start the timer now. And just, of course, invite you to breathe. And then now, putting your pen to your paper, channel whatever you feel comes up naturally for you as I read this card. Connect with love. Love is not a relationship with just one person. It is not a relationship with just yourself either. Love is a way of life. Love is a way of being. Love is how you see yourself and everything else. Love is a relationship with all things and living beings. Life is calling you to deepen your compassion, understanding, and perspective. There is always room for more love. How can you demonstrate love for all things and living beings? What does love sound like, feel like, look like, taste like, and smell like? How is love manifesting in your life? Your affirmation is, love is how my inner world interacts with my outer world. Love is how my inner world interacts with my outer world. Okay. Okay. I hope that that was a really insightful activity for you to do. You know, just in 2 minutes, I feel like you can uncover so much of what your subconscious is actually holding on to. And if you feel like 2 minutes was not enough, of course, pause this video, put on some amazing music to keep you in flow, or you can even do it in silence. But just do it for longer, as much as you need, and then come back to this video whenever you feel complete with that. And then we'll move on to the next activity. Okay, so for the next activity that I want to do with you is, it's going to be a minute long, and I really want us to focus on the affirmation here. Love is how my inner world interacts with my outer world. I feel like that's such a big theme for you right now, right? Like your inner world versus your outer world. And it's, you know, obviously not versus, right? It's just integrating them, right? How can we bridge the two? And I think that that would be a very beautiful, quick activity for you to do, and just for you to, again, like tap in, you know, get out of your head. So you can just really allow that water to flow through you. Instead of writing, let's draw. Let's draw your inner world and your outer world interacting with each other, and just see how that comes up for you. So I'll start the 1 minute timer here, and just begin. And just remember to breathe. Just allow anything to come up. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Just finish up whatever came up for you in that 1 minute activity drawing. And just the reason why I had you go through this activity is I want you to just see visually what came through for you. Like, how does your inner world interacting with your outer world, I feel, can give you such a visual understanding of what you've been feeling, of what you've been carrying, maybe of things that you've been afraid of, or maybe things that you've been avoiding, right? So, or even things that you love about how your inner world and outer world interact with each other. This is really, of course, there's no right or wrong way of expressing yourself. This is truly the space to understand yourself. So I hope that that gave you some insight on how your affirmation already lives within you, and how you want to create it moving forward, and how you want it to come to life moving forward as well. So again, we're going back to why we even drew this card and what the question was that we asked. It was about the uncomfortable things that you're going to be facing this year, but we were going deeper and really looking at the source, right, at the roots of like what are the lessons going to be about as you face uncomfortable things this year. And it's all about love for you. It's not about it of course can be about romantic love, but again, we're going deeper. It's not just what you see on the surface. There's so much life underneath the surface. And so for you, whenever you come across problems, issues, conflicts, misunderstandings, uncomfortable things, even triggers, and blocks in this year, all those things are revealing to you of connecting with love. And so there's a lot of different meanings here for you actually, but the primary one is more so of this ability, and it's almost it is a skill. That's what I feel like your guides are saying, is you need to develop this skill of not separating yourself from others, because I feel like you're very comfortable with isolating and being by yourself. And while that is medicinal and actually healing, your tendency is actually harmful to you and your creative spirit. So whenever you have the hardships, whenever you face the uncomfortable this year, your guides and your higher self are really asking you to go beneath the surface, look at what the problem is teaching you, remind yourself that it's about finding and creating that space for you to connect and bridge your inner world and outer world. Because I just feel like there's just such a big theme here that your inner world and outer world feel so different. Like you're one way with yourself and another way with other people. And that is perfectly normal and fine. There's nothing to change there. But what I'm getting more so is, can you appreciate and love that part and bridge the two, not necessarily having like this harsh separation between the two? Because I think that's where it's like, should I focus on my inner world or my outer world? It's not necessarily, they're not two entities. Even though they exist as two entities in our world, they actually exist as one, right? One underneath the ground. So I hope that that is helpful. If not, and you want more clarity, of course you can do so through a one-on-one session with me. I do feel like this is something that will be revealed to you over time. Okay, so just to recap, we have I am the collective as your focus of the year, and the lessons behind the challenges of your year. And the lessons behind the challenges is to connect with love. So, and both of them have the underlying theme of your inner world and your outer world. So the last card I would love to read for you is going to be a question that you asked. So this can be anything. You can even think about it and come back to this video. Once you have your question, just close your eyes, and I would invite you to put a hand to your stomach and just hold it as you breathe, or any other place in your body that feels like it needs to be held. Like that could be your arms or your knees, whatever feels very grounding for you in this moment. So with your question, this is your answer. just close your eyes and listen. Focus on yourself. When you compare yourself to others, you tie your worth to someone else's experiences that you see. But at the end of the day, comparison is a tool of oppression and violation of the self. Comparison is a mirror trauma response to fill the void of self-worth. People are not you, and you are not others either. You can try to be like others, but you will not be fulfilled because you are meant to be you. Live in truth, dear one, that everyone, yourself included, is unique. Nobody's strengths are a threat to you. People's gifts don't make yours any less or more. Work to remember your uniqueness and confide in souls who are compatible with your worth. Your affirmation is, I own my worth by being unapologetically myself. I own my worth by being unapologetically myself. That is so beautiful. Okay. So before I share with you what I received from that, I really want you to ask yourself, what did you receive from that? And don't overthink it. Just receive it. What does it mean? What is it supporting in your life that you already know? Right? Because you have already been given these intuitive nudges. This question you asked, you already know the answer. You just asked me to channel for you so you can hear it in a different way and to receive it in a different way and to see yourself in a different way. Now with this third card, asking you and telling you and affirming you to focus on yourself and that you are worthy. What does that reveal to you that you have already known before this session that we are in right now? And just journal this. Journal this. You can even pause this video to jot it down. And as you have written it down, held it in your heart, just sit here in this stillness, in this quiet energy. Because this is where your energy is. Remember that there's no right or wrong. There's just you. That is something so beautiful, so special to remember and so powerful. And I think just that remembrance can instantly detangle that rope that we've been talking about this whole session. Just instantly opens it up and just really gives you that space to breathe and remember, like, oh yeah, I am special just like everyone else, and everyone's special just like me. We all are worthy to be here. We all have something to create and or to spread in this world. So, with that, I really feel like the most prominent message for you in this card is whether you focus on your inner world or outer world, you are focusing on yourself no matter what, in whatever scenario that you do. And the reason why is because that self-worthiness needs to be tended to so compassionately, so courageously, and so consistently. I think that is something that is a big theme that you're going to be experiencing this year. And it's going to show up in your outer world and your inner world. But the focus is yourself and really tending to those pieces within yourself that don't feel worthy yet, right? I think that's such a key word that I want to help you practice, is to say yet at the end of every sentence. Whenever you go through a challenge and you don't understand it, instead of saying, I don't understand, just add the other word. Just add yet at the end and say, I don't understand this yet. Because it will help you get out of this stagnant corner. And I think that's why it can feel really comforting when you're alone and when you self-isolate as a coping mechanism. It doesn't become healing, it actually becomes harmful for you. So I feel like just even that small, very powerful addition to your vocabulary is going to be a game changer for you. Just like with your question, right? Even the context that you provided, you said, last year, I made a lot of big shifts in my life externally. It was really the year of stepping past the bounds of my comfort zone, which was ultimately so rewarding. So, look, you have evidence that your growth, your discomfort is healing and will catapult you into a new terrain of exploring who you are and expanding your power. So, I feel like, everything is interconnected in this reading. And so just really wanting you to hone in on, no matter if you're creating goodness or you're spreading goodness, the core of your experience right now, this year in your life, is going to be focusing on yourself, meaning focusing on your worthiness, right? The way that you show up in your inner world, the way that you show up in your outer world is all going to reflect how you connect with love, right? It goes back to that second card. What is everything revealing to you right now? It's for you to connect with love, whatever that looks like, to expand it, to experience it in every single way that you know and do not know yet. So I hope that this session was so helpful for you and that you received a lot of clarity and direction in your life right now. And honestly, I feel like you should just be so proud of yourself. Like, for you to go through a growth year is incredible. Like, that means that you had a lot of pain during it. You had a lot of growing pains, and maybe some of them are still healing, right? Maybe some of them are still scars. Maybe some of them are open wounds. So another layer of this is just to take it easy, take it gentle, be compassionate. I think just taking it slow as well is going to really help you, because when you have growth years, it changes you and you have to adjust to them, right? You have to adjust to the internal changes that happened, and your outside world will reflect those changes naturally as you unfold. So of course, just being really patient and compassionate with yourself is key here this year as you focus on your worthiness, focus on love, and really focus on bridging your inner world and outer world and not seeing them as different entities, but the one and same. So let's end this session with a deep breath. And I want to use the sound bowl again, just so we can clear out energy and so we can energetically unlock, because this whole time, right, like I said before, we were interlinking. Now that the session is closing, I really want us to get into the practice of energetic hygiene, right? Energetic boundaries and protection. It's so important for us to come together in this space, and as we step out, we also step out energetically so we can be in our own divine energy. So just as we did in the beginning, breathe in. And on your next inhale, say thank you. Thank you to yourself. Thank you to your spirit guides and the universe. And thank you to us for sharing this beautiful time together. And then on your next inhale, just make a small promise to yourself as you end this session. Thank you so much for this time again, and I'm so excited for you and your journey this year, wherever it takes you. Just know that it is your journey, and so trust it. No matter where you go, no matter how it unfolds, it is beautiful, and it's because you are beautiful.